really nervous. Like, all the time. Like, for no reason. I'll be nervous even when there's nothing to be nervous about, really. Like, it's sort of like when you're waiting in line for a roller coaster and you have that nervous stomach. I feel like that all the time. Like, every day. And I don't ever get that feeling you get after you ride the roller coaster, when you feel better. I'm waiting in line all the time. And I try really hard not to feel like that, but I don't know. Just can't. Maybe you can clarify something for me. Since I've been, waiting, I've read a lot.
Really?
And one of the things that keeps popping up is about subtext. Plays, novels, songs, they all have a subtext, which I take to mean a hidden message or import of some kind. So subtext we know, but what do you call the message or meaning right there on the surface? Open and obvious. They never talk about that. What do you call what's above the subtext?
The text.
Okay, that's right. But they never talk about that. I want to talk to her, Billy. I have one last thing that I have to say to her. I just miss her so terribly. She was my reason for living. Baby, I am so sorry. I'm sorry because most of the time that I spent with you, especially when you were younger, I was just so overwhelmed. It wasn't easy being a single parent. And you were such a handful. So I guess I forgot to say the things that I was supposed to say, but that I always felt in my heart. I am so proud of you, Addie. I admire you so for what you were able to overcome. And I think you're beautiful, Addie. I think you're the most beautiful girl I have ever met. Y'all can't do that here.
Do what?
This is a decent neighborhood.
But we're starting a dogging club. Mr. Zimbato at number 9 said you might like to join.
Yeah, as if. That was achingly terrible. You don't just sing badly. You molest the music in a manner I find personally offensive. You have the magnetism of a towel and an inherent allergy to anything approaching even basic talent. Awful. I don't even want to look at you.
It's nothing to be afraid of. You know, it's like floating out to sea. Then one day you find a port and say, I'm going to stay here a few days. A few days becomes a few years. And you forgot where you were going in the first place. And then you realize you don't care about where you were going because you like where you're at. That's how it is for me. I like where I'm at.
Somewhere in that fall, something had irrevocably changed. And when I woke up, I couldn't remember why it was I had tried to commit suicide. And I knew it was all right, even if Dad was a cripple. And I asked Mom what had kept her going through everything that had happened, and she said she didn't know. But she said there was one time when she first brought him home. There was this one day when she just couldn't cope anymore, and she got all these pills and a bottle of whiskey, and she had them all lined up in a row, and just before she was going to take them, she heard Dad moan from next door, and she went in to see him. And she looked down on his face, and on it was a smile, just a brief smile, for a second, and then it was gone. Maybe life isn't about the tragedies, and maybe that's just what's normal. Hurt and heartache, and loneliness and despair. Maybe life's about those tiny moments that keep us going through all that darkness. The little things, like a delicious supper, or a tiny moment of kindness, or a smile, just for a brief second. Maybe it's about not giving up. And maybe we all have to try. I'll tell you one thing. Life's bloody weird, isn't it? Hey, you busy? You sound busy. I can call back if... Okay. No, yeah, I just don't want to get into it if... I don't know. I guess I wanted to apologize. What do you think? Or yesterday? Well, it didn't seem like you thought it was nothing. By the way you were talking to me, your tone. Well, it bothered me. That's why I'm calling. I just think if we're going to move forward, we should keep everything out in the open. Oh. Oh. I'm not so sure I can move forward in this kind of atmosphere. The kind you're setting up, it's poisonous to me. So you think it's fine? This is fine to you? Well, I'm not, and I don't want to get used to it. That shit you were saying, those were some serious accusations. If I thought they were, they were. You can't dictate to me how I interpret what you say. I'm not dictating. When two people talk, that's just what happens. You can only control what comes out of your own mouth. Once it's out there, it's up to the other person what to do with it. No, you have a problem. You're just not willing to... What? Fine. No. No, go ahead. Yeah, call me back. Seems like everybody's having sex but me. It's not that I'm against sex. I mean, it was clever of God, or evolution, or whatever, to hook the survival of the species to it, because we're all going to screw around no matter what. It was a smarter thing to pick than, say, the instinct to share your toys or return phone calls. We would have died out like eons ago. But on the minus side, God, all the attachment that goes with it, it's like a net. Sex always ends in kids or disease or, like, you know, relationships. That's exactly what I don't want. I want the opposite of that, because it's not worth it. Not really. Is it? When you think about it,